Hi everyone, I'm Susan Mulvihill. Welcome back to my garden. For my March 25th column, I wrote all about the basics of pruning. You know, I think pruning can be very mysterious for a lot of us. What should we absolutely do? What shouldn't we do? And so on. And so I really wanted to cover a lot of that in my column, and I hope that you'll find it interesting. Remember that you can always find my garden columns online on susansinthegarden.com. Now today I'm standing in our small orchard. We have 20 different fruit trees, mostly apples and cherries, but we also have plums, pears, and apricots. Some of them are well-established trees. They've been real productive. Other ones are fairly new and we're babying them along in the hopes of great bounty in the future. So today I want to talk about pruning fruit trees because that is definitely one of the mysteries. Let's get started. The first thing I wanted to talk about are fruit trees that do not require pruning, and those are the young ones that are busy becoming established. So we just planted this peach tree last year. We do not need to prune it for 2 or 3 years because we want it to just focus on becoming established in its new home. This is our old Jonagold apple tree. And anytime you start a pruning project, no matter what kind of a tree it is, you want to look for dead branches or broken branches. So those would come off first. Once you do that, you want to look for branches that are maybe heading up towards the center of the tree, they're crossing, and you would get rid of those as well. But the most important rule of thumb you need to remember for any pruning job is that you should never remove more than 25% of the tree canopy in a year's time. The tree canopy is your branches that will be leafing out because those leaves are what provide food for the plant to grow. I want to show you how to remove a whole branch. If you look down at the base of this branch, you'll see a swollen area, and that's called the branch collar. When a branch is removed right above it, that is what heals over that cut. Now, if I cut out here, that's called a stub cut. You do not want to do that because that is very hard for a tree to recover from. Instead, you should cut just at the top of the branch collar, and now we'll be able to heal from that cut. So this is another apple tree, and I just wanted to give you some examples of the types of things that you typically see when you're doing spring pruning. So first of all, I've got crossing branches here. That will never do. I've got another branch that's trying to go up through this branch. So that one, I'm just going to do it a quick snip just to get it out of my way for now. I'll worry about it later. This branch needs to go, so I'm going to remove it. Now the most important cut you make on a fruit tree is one that's going to encourage sunlight to hit the branches and to get extra production. And the best thing you can do for most fruit trees is to prune to an outside bud, because I don't want it to keep growing up this way. I don't want it going in toward the center of the tree. Instead, I'm going to prune to an outside branch that's going to go this way. This is one of our plum trees. And the thing about plums is you want to prune them so they have kind of an open shape, a vase-like shape. You probably see that in fruit tree books. And so I'm just really looking to see, is there anything that is pointing in towards the trunk? Are there any dead branches, anything that's crossing, and so on? And so in this case, I just have a couple things that are growing in weird directions. This one's heading towards the trunk. We don't want that. Here's one that's growing straight up. So it's a pretty simple tree to prune. Just remember to keep it nice and open. I wanted to show you how to remove a branch using a saw. Now this branch was hitting me in the head every time I mowed the lawn last summer, and so I definitely want to take it off. But there is a 3-step process you go through in order to prevent any kind of damage to the tree. Now remember that at the base of a branch is the branch collar, that's that swollen area. So I'm eventually wanting to make a finish cut right on the outside of it. But the first thing I do is an undercut a few inches out from where it attaches to the trunk. The second cut is the through cut, and you make it all the way through the branch but outside of where that undercut was. And then the finish cut goes on an angle on the outside of that branch collar. This is one of our cherry trees, and it is very productive but also very tall. And so any pruning that needs to be done on this, my husband Bill will take care of. But I'm looking at the structure of it, and it really has a very nice shape thanks to his pruning. But I'm looking for branches that are again crossing, they're heading in towards the center of the tree, or they just look like they're going to be troublesome. So we've got a bit of work to do here, but we're looking forward to lots of cherries on it. You know, sometimes things do not go according to plan, and I wanted to show you a perfect example of this. This was an apricot tree. Apricots are borderline for the Spokane area, and we wanted to give it a try, so we planted it. It died last year, and look at these suckers that came up from the roots. You might think, oh, well, good, the plant's still alive. But these are not the variety that we grew. So unfortunately, we're going to have to dig it up and plant something new in its place. Well, we've got a lot of work ahead of us, so I'm going to sign off for now. I do hope this tutorial was helpful, and I'll see you next week.